live show. Topic is creationism true? I'm basically going to be going through the young earth creationism. Old earth creationism is kind of the same thing, but old earth creationists don't have as many hurdles to get over because they accept that the earth is old. So, that's basically the difference between a young earth creationist and an old earth creationist. Now, theistic evolution, they believe that evolution happens, which is a fact, by the way. Evolution does happen. But that it is guided by a theistic being. So, starting with, hey doorknob head, I couldn't sleep. What are you doing up at 1:10 a.m.? Thank you for calling me a young lady, by the way. I'm like 42. So anyway, young earth creationists literally believe that the earth was created in 6 days and God rested on the 7th day. Okay, let's just think about that for a moment. Why does God have to rest? If God is an omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent God, why does he have to rest? That never made sense to me even as a Christian, by the way. It was just one of those things I just went along with because they were like, don't worry about it. Everything will be answered when you get to heaven. But that never made sense to me. Why did God need to rest? And of course that's where they say we get the 7-day week from. And then one of the things they use to pump up their young earth creationism is, well, why do we have a 7-day week? Well, probably because people figured out that a 7-day week actually works. I mean, you can have a 6-day week, a 5-day week. It doesn't really matter. It's just, it's just a unit of time. It just so happens that 7-day weeks work. So, then we have the 2 creation stories. Yes, that's Callie, doorknob head. Okay, so then there are 2 creation stories. And apologists are going to say, no, there's not 2 creation stories. Genesis 2 is just an in-depth look at Genesis 1. I made a video about the 2 creation stories, so I'm not going to get into it here. If you want to know, go look at that video. Because it is 2 different creation stories. By the way, there are a lot of 2 different stories in the Bible, especially from Genesis to 2 Kings. Because basically the Bible's been edited a bunch of times. And by the way, Moses did not write the first 5 books of the Bible. Just letting you know. I know, heartbreak. like I said, I made the video on the two creation stories. Okay. Now, I also made a video on Adam and Eve and the tree of knowledge. And I'm not going to go into that too much because I've already covered it in that video. But one thing you need to think about is there were two trees in the Garden of Eden. The tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. Adam and Eve, according to the Genesis narrative, Adam and Eve did not start dying because of sin. Excuse me. Because of, disobeying God and eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. According to Genesis, Adam and Eve and their descendants started dying because they no longer had access to the tree of life. Look it up. It's plain as day for anybody who wants to look it up and wants to see without what Ken Ham calls God glasses. So, we know through various dating methods, not just one dating method. No, not just one dating method. One dating method might be wrong. We know through several dating methods that the Earth is 4.54 billion years old. Now, there is some leeway given. I can't remember what it is at the moment, but there is a plus or minus. But approximately 4.54 billion years old. The universe, on the other hand, is 13.8 billion years old, or thereabouts. And the young Earth creationists are going to say, because I used to be one, and I was dumb, but I was also born into it. And, but I got out, and so can you. So, most young Earth creationists are going to say the Earth is 6,000 years old. Some young Earth creationists will go up as far as 10,000 years, but that's the absolute limit for young Earth creationists. How they do this, how they figure this out, I have no idea. I've been told Bishop Usher was, calculating based on generations and whatnot, but anyway, apparently he didn't get the memo that writing was not invented until about 5,000 years ago. 6,000 years is ridiculous. 10,000 years is ridiculous. Hey, Paranormal Encyclopedia. Hey, Brabble Beast. I hope I got your name right. 10,000 years is also ridiculous. But you have to understand that especially with Bishop Usher, he was basically just going on what he had. Yes, paranormal, I understand that, but how did he figure out how long a generation was? It is basically my question. How would he figure out how much a generation was? So, and you can leave that in the comments, in the side chat if you want, or you can leave it down in the comments. It doesn't matter. So, anyway, hang on, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so, when you're talking about these things with a young earth creationist, they're not going to believe that, carbon dating works, because they've listened to people like Kent Hovind. But we can't figure out the age of the earth by carbon dating anyway, because number one, carbon dating doesn't go that high, and number two, the things we use to date the earth don't have carbon in them. So we use things like potassium argon dating, or argon, and other things. Yeah, paranormal. Paranormal Encyclopedia is pointing out that he did live in the 17th century. So, I'll let him slide on that. But in the 21st century, people should know better. Thank you so much, Paranormal Encyclopedia. I knew he was somewhere around in there. I was part of the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church Doorknob Head, the old one, not the new one. Believe me, the old one was as bigoted as the new one. So, the new one isn't really improved. It's just new. So anyway, okay. So then we've got the flood. And I also made a video on why the worldwide flood never happened. And R&R has a great series on this. All I did was make some common sense arguments as to why the flood, number one, could not happen, and number two, did not happen. So we have the other, okay, there's a lot of problems with the young earth model. Among other things, we have an entire forest of trees that is at least 10,000 years old. The Methuselah tree is around 10,000 years old. So, according to the young earth creationists, the world wasn't even around, so where did the Methuselah tree come from? So anyway, and then I don't know a whole lot about cosmology. It's not my area of expertise. But they also have a starlight problem. Now, if you go over to King Crocoduck's channel, I'll go ahead and write that out. King Crocoduck. I don't think he posts videos anymore, but if you go to his channel, he's an astrophysicist, and he had a debate with Kent Hovind, and he explains all this. And Kent Hovind is saying, well, you know, the Bible says God stretched out the heavens. Well, if God stretched out the heavens, we wouldn't be able to see anything, basically, is what King Crocoduck says. So, so it's called the starlight problem. That, and YECs love to talk about the starlight problem, but it really isn't a problem because we've got an answer for that, you know. And so I don't know, you know, what their deal is. I think what happens with young Earth creationists is they either have a sunk cost fallacy, which is they've invested so much emotion and so much time into the young Earth model that they just give up and say, you know what, so anyway, so we've got that, and then we've also got a problem with young Earth creationism when we talk about supercontinents, because Pangea was not the first supercontinent. In fact, I think Pangea was the last supercontinent, if I remember correctly. I think the first supercontinent was Valbara, and you can find parts of this supercontinent still in Australia to this day. And the other thing that YECs don't take into account is that our universe is getting farther and farther apart. So, like, the Milky Way galaxy, like today, is further from, say, Andromeda than it was a year ago. I'm just making these figures up. I don't know how long it takes a galaxy to move, but I do know that galaxies get farther and farther apart, which is how they are able to come up with an age of the universe of 13.8 billion years old. Exactly, Paranormal Encyclopedia. Paranormal Encyclopedia is like, nope, it's over. How could you possibly detect something that far away if light's only been coming here for 6,000 years? So, you know, so those are just a few problems with young Earth creationism. You know, you've got archaeology, which is, you know, I mean, Young Earth creationists are biblical literalists. They literally believe Noah's flood happened about 4,400 years ago. Well, apparently the Egyptians, the Mesopotamians, and the Chinese didn't even notice. That they were supposed to be dead. Because we have written records from that time, from about 5,000 years ago. Especially in Egypt, probably also in China. Egypt is more my forte. Yes, Doorknob Head, they do. And it's actually interesting because I'm working on a video right now called Yahweh and Lucifer. When I get done with it, I'm not sure when I'll be done with it, but when I get done with it, you should probably take a look at it because it is absolutely hilarious. I talk about Isaiah 14:12 through 15. Yes, Paranormal Encyclopedia. Yeah, I understand that. Atrahasis. I think Atrahasis was a myth, but it was based on a real story. So, anyway, so you've got all of these problems with young Earth creationism, and it seems like the young Earth creationists just want to plug their ears and say la 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 and stomp their feet like a 2-year-old having a tantrum. Well, guess what? It doesn't work that way. You know, we deal in facts, and the facts say that the Earth is not young. Oh, okay, Paranormal Encyclopedia. It is in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Bramble Beast, but Paranormal Encyclopedia is probably right. Oral tradition is probably older than that. But writing was invented something like 5,000 years ago, so somewhere around in there. So that would have been about the time these things would have been written down. But going from young Earth creationism to biblical literalism, Paranormal Encyclopedia, you're probably not going to want to hear this. Israel did not come out of Egypt. There is no record of Israelites en masse in Egypt. Now, there could have been some here and there. I'm not saying there weren't, but en masse, there were not. And that's another problem for the young Earth creationists, because if you go back to the flood of Noah and you use Ken Ham's own figures, yes, Paranormal Encyclopedia, I do know that. I don't know if you want me to use your real name or not, so I'm not using your real name. But anyway, the thing is, using Ken Ham's own numbers And remember, he's a biblical literalist and a young earth creationist. And the Exodus out of Egypt, the Exodus says that 600,000 men, not including women and children, left Egypt. According to Ken Ham's own calculations, there would not have been that many people in the world at that time. Okay, alright, Kev, thanks. So, there would not have been even 600,000 people at that time, let alone men, not counting women and children. So, you got a big problem there, you know, and a lot of other stuff doesn't make sense. And you try to bring this up to the young earth creationists, and you end up throwing your hands up and saying, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna spend any more time arguing with you. You know, you obviously don't want to hear the truth and all that and whatnot. So, Paul Holy 54 is great. He has this series. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's something along the lines of dumb things young earth creationists say, or something like that. Bravo Beast. So does Logic. Let me type his name just in case you want to go to his channel and see how he handles Kent Hovind. It's hilarious. It really is hilarious. So, anyway, so those are just my thoughts on young earth creationism. Young earth creationism is not true. Old earth creationism does have some merits. I'm not going to say it's true, but it does have some merits. Before I became agnostic, I was a theistic evolutionist. And, you know, to this day, I cannot rule out a deistic God. I don't think anybody will ever be able to rule out a deistic God, but, you know, if there is a deistic God, he doesn't care about us. You know, one way or another, he doesn't care. Hey, purple rhymes with orange. So anyway, yeah, that's just, you know, like I said, the young earth creationists probably aren't gonna come to my channel anyway, but, you know, I just wanted to, since I couldn't sleep, I just thought I'd hop on here and, you know, give you some thoughts on creationism. By the way, Paranormal Encyclopedia, do you mind me giving out your channel, Paranormal Kevin? I'm not gonna say anything until Paranormal comes back and says yes or no, but anyway, since he's here, you know, That's his channel name, actually. So, you can go to his channel. Okay. Kevin, also known as Paranormal Encyclopedia, is a demonologist. And, wasn't it the, oh crap, I forget his name. I can't remember the husband's name, but Lorraine? You know who I'm talking about, Paranormal? Who trained you? I can't remember who trained you. Was it the Warrens? Ah. Yeah, Purple, that sucks when YouTube doesn't notice. So Paranormal Encyclopedia is a Christian. He's one of the good guys. He's not one of these I hate gay people and whatnot. But he is a demonologist, and he's got a very cool channel. He talks about... Okay. Anyway, he's got a very cool channel. He talks about stuff like vampires and all sorts of stuff. I think, didn't you do an episode on Frankenstein? Oh, you're welcome. So, you guys go out and check out Paranormal Encyclopedia if you think what he does is cool. Like I said, he's got a bunch of stuff. I think he's got a thing on werewolves. I'm sorry, I'm kind of hot right now. I think he's got a video on werewolves. I know he's got one on vampires. I thought so, Paranormal. So anyway, let me get off, because like I said, I'm hot and I could use the fan. And so thanks for watching, guys.